The Ruderman Family Foundation is an organization which promotes the connection between Israel and Jewish communities in the United States. Recently, the foundation launched a new project consisting of an interactive map which tells the stories of Jews from all over the U.S. Joining us now from the United States are Jay and Shira Ruderman. Thank you for joining us, and please tell us briefly about the foundation and its goals.
Well, thank you for having us. The foundation has historically focused on two issues. One is the rights of people with disabilities in society across the world, especially focusing on the United States and Israel, and also specifically to Israel, educating Israeli leaders about the American Jewish community.
Also, recently you started a new initiative, which is an interactive map of Jewish communities throughout the United States. What is the idea behind this project?
Well, the idea behind the project was to speak to Israelis and show them the breadth of the Jewish community in the United States, that it's not just located in New York and Los Angeles, but the Jewish community actually exists in every of the 50 states in the United States, and the different characteristics of those communities, the size of the population, how it's organized, so that Israelis can understand how integrated the Jewish community is into American society.
I would add to that as Jay mentioned, the idea is to find ways to make Israelis not just to be aware of the American Jewish community, is what creative ways can engage our curiosity and learn in ways that will be beneficial to show the diversity among the Jewish community, the variety of voices, and make our country and the Israeli population understand that when we speak about the U.S. Jewry, it's actually not one voice, that it's very diverse, very creative ways to make it accessible to the younger generations, to professionals in the field, so we can learn and be knowledgeable about American Jewry.
Also, what did you personally learn from this project about the Jewish communities in the United States?
Well, I think what we can learn is that Jews have a Jewish life, even if they live in Alaska, Hawaii, or in Virginia, or very remote places, or if they're going to school at very remote universities in different parts of the United States, that people feel very connected to their Judaism. The way they practice Judaism may not be readily understandable or look like the way Israelis practice Judaism, but they care deeply about Judaism. They care deeply about their connection to the state of Israel. And it's very important because the United States is represented by senators and members of Congress from across all 50 states. And so it's important that there are Jewish populations in every state and that they're vocal and supportive of Israel and of Jewish life.
I also think that one of the things we can learn from that is that it takes a lot of effort for a Jew that does not live in a place like Israel to feel Jewish and be connected. It's not for granted. It's really sacrificing your time, coming up with ways and solutions to fulfill your Jewish life, to find ways to connect with people based on your faith, but also on your values, that it's an effort and it's not for granted, because all the examples that you pointed out show different stories. However, they all show that it's important to them, that they chose to be part of it, that they're proud and they're very active in order to have Jewish life.
Do you feel your initiatives may help ease the rising tide of anti-Semitism in the United States that we've been seeing rise over the past several months?
Well, I'm not sure they ease the tension within the United States. I do think that anti-Semitism feels like it's at an all-time high here in America. And I think anti-Semitism comes both from the right and the left. The right being the historical white supremacist hatred of Jews, and the left being focused on anti-Israel rhetoric that often blurs the line between anti-Semitism and anti-Israel. I mean, I'm very active on social media, and when you have a post about the Israeli baseball team at the Olympics, and you get someone sending you a Nazi flag. That's blatant anti-Semitism, and I think that it's coming at both sides, and it has a real impact here in America. A rabbi, a Chabad rabbi, was stabbed a mile away from our house. And I can tell you, walking with the kippah in the streets feels a little bit more dangerous, attending a synagogue or a Jewish day school. So I think anti-Semitism is here, and it's growing in America. It's becoming less comfortable for Jews, both on universities and living in Jewish communities. Will these videos change? I think individuals change circumstances.
Also, another project you guys are engaging in is about Jewish students, specifically in America. Shira, tell us about the main challenges that a Jewish student faces today in the current climate.
You were referring your question to the fact that a Jewish student has to think twice before he or she chooses a certain college. I think it's fair to say absolutely. I think parents are considering, is it a place for my kid to be comfortably? I'm not saying an Orthodox Jew necessarily. I'm saying comfortably, so you're not going to be either judged, attacked, or challenged just because you're Jewish. Yes, it's absolutely the case, and there are many groups of parents that consider it based on what is the presence of BDS on this college, so my kid can be safe. What is the policies the universities have when it comes to freedom of speech, like meaning how biased certain situations can be for the sake of freedom of speech. Absolutely. And we as parents all think, like, does it make sense to send your kid to a good school just because it has a good academic record, or it's also a comfortable, safe place for your child to be at?
Shira, what have been the main reactions that you've received thus far from the project?
Very positive reactions. I think that the idea to make it interactive, to make it accessible, to make it, through technology and through the screen, made it very engaging. I have to say, beyond what I personally expected. I think that our staff that, had this idea to create the map and make it interactive as possible, made communities that we were not in touch with, not just the foundation, I think the country. We're not thinking to engage with, minor, small communities in different parts of the United States. And suddenly they are part of the conversation. They are part of the community. It created a very positive reaction and a snowball. So in a way that people asking, how can they, keep it alive, how they can engage, how they can create opportunities of exchange between Israel to their communities. It finally made them proud, finally made them be aware of other communities around the country. I have to say, we thought about it, as an internal project to make knowledge accessible, and it became an engaging tool for many Jewish organizations and many Jewish communities and individuals. So we were very surprised and very happy that this can become a tool for others, and not just for, not just to have it as stories.
Thank you so much to Jay and Shira Ruderman for your great work.